Alright, this is my first video on how to do the mother mold. So you're going to want to prep everything. You're going to want to have your part A, part B, your thivex to thicken, your color to color it so we don't have clear layers, and then mixing sticks and your paintbrush. You want to have your head and your body prepped. Some people do full body, not separate like I do, but you want to have them prepped and ready to go. Doggy pee mats to get your spillage. And then this is my part A and part B ready to go. Alright, I like to use cups that have lines for measuring. A lot of people do by weight. I like to measure it, but I am getting a weight scale to measure for when I pour to make it more accurate. So I'm going to pour just under halfway in A, and then I'm going to pour the other cup halfway in B. That way when I fill the cup up, it comes up to here. That way I have a lot of extra. I'm going to mix my color in to either part A or part B, it doesn't matter. But you mix it in first before you put it together. And then you drop in a couple drops of your thivex until you get it to your thickness consistency. Alright, so we got our part A and our part B. I'm going to use green pigment. I like to do the no vacuum dragon skin just because it's not as bubbly. Especially when I stir it, I don't get bubbles in it. And then I find that I really like the way it's not as thick, so it kind of does a nice thin layer over top of your baby. For the first layer, I don't really like to put this in here. I like to make it nice and thin, but I'm gonna put 1 drop, 2 drops I guess. But the first layer, it's just nice and thin and it gets into all the crevices and all the details. The first layer of your head, you want to tilt your baby's head backwards so that you can pour into the mouth, so you can get your tongue and your gums and everything in the first part. Alright, so I'm going to mix my part A and part B together. Alright, for the face, I'm just gonna pour into the mouth. Use a Q-tip or a stick to push it in to make sure you don't have any bubbles. And just squish it until you get all the bubbles out. Well, this sets pretty quick, so you don't want to diddle doddle, but your first layer is all about getting the details, so you want to make sure that you get the details. Here's paintbrush. I like to pour it and then spread it. That's just what I prefer. You can do however you like. I made a base for my head. That's gonna act as the, I guess you'd call it a flange for when you do a cuddle body. But for when I put it onto my baby, it's not gonna be used, but I'm still gonna bring my silicone all the way around it. That way when I pour a head, I have the entire base for it. Because I'm doing my first layer of my baby on its side, I'm not gonna do the back of the head, obviously. So I'm just gonna get as much of the details as I can, and then I'm gonna do another layer. Once this is dried, I'll flip it over and I'll do another layer. So the first layer takes a little bit longer. So you have to do the front and the back. And make sure it's a nice even layer. the body. Again, I pour it. It's a little bit faster than scooping it every time. And we're thinking of this layer, it's literally called a glove mold, so you want it to fit the baby like a glove. This is where you're gonna get all your details, and then when you do your mother mold, that's literally nothing about the details. It's just a hard part to hold it all together so you don't end up with wonky limbs and stuff. How can you tell your silicone is cured? Do not touch your doll. Touch the silicone here. It takes about 45 minutes to cure. But you'll know when you touch it. It's a teeny tiny bit tacky, but it's cured. So when it's like this, you can do your next coat. You want to do enough coats that you cannot see the features of your baby. You want to be able to pull your baby out of the mold without issues, but you also don't want it to tear. Second layer is done. You can see this one's thicker. You can see the actual brush strokes, but that keeps from it dripping down and getting a lot of waste, so you're able to use all of the silicone. You can see on the feet, the blue went into the creases, and that was the one that's going to catch all the details. Third layer, you can see that by using different colors, you can make sure that you get as close to even as you can. 5th layer. My last 2 babies, I did 6 layers, but this one you're still able to see the features, so I may do 7. We'll see what happens after the 6th. Sixth layer, normally I stop here. You can still see clear nose and mouth. So I'm gonna do another layer, just to see. Seventh layer. So we can't see the belly button anymore. Can't make out separate fingers anymore. Can sort of make out the features, but I made the features on this one really stand out, so I think we're safe with this amount of layers. The whole purpose of having this many layers is because when you're trying to get the baby out, sometimes you're a little bit rough on your mold and it can rip, and you can fix the rip, but it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be as smooth, so it's best to get it good from the get-go. I put this on the forehead so that when I have my mold, I do the front part and the back part, or I do it through the middle. But I find with the front, if I have any sort of shifting in the mother mold, I don't get like a seam down the face. I did that once with my Leo sculpt. Its entire side of the face was wonky. And so I started doing front half and back half, and this will make sure that the front half is there. I've never done this, so I don't know if it's gonna work. So don't do it until we know if it's gonna work. I put it in the fresh silicone, so it'll set in there. So we'll see.